And we are at, this is what, November 11? Is that right? Or November 10? November 10. And our idea of the week this week, special guest, Milan Stastny, the Dr. Medicare Supp, Medicare expert. Even though you may not be in this market, you may not be doing it, you are licensed most likely in health, and so you could. But I personally, man, it's been years and years and years since I sold a Medicare supplement. I want to be knowledgeable on it because people who are turning 65 or over 65 often ask me questions, and I want to be competent and I want to direct them in the right direction. And we can be, as we practice comprehensive financial planning with our clients, we don't have to do it all, but it's good to be an air traffic controller in many respects and know where to go with our solutions or our need for answers. And Milan, I know, is an expert in this area. He specializes in it. He's been doing it for many, many years. I'll let him talk a little bit about that. And he is, if you want to refer business to him to take care of it, I am confident your client will be in very, very good hands. So with that, let me turn the screen and show over to Milan Stastny.
Good morning, everyone. Dennis, thank you for the kind introduction. My name is Milan Stastny, and I specialize in one thing, and that is Medicare. Started many, many years ago in the final expense business, and as I got older with my clients, they started asking me about Medicare. And there is a lot of confusion out with Medicare these days. Our wonderful government named it part, they named the plan, they put they put letters on both sides. And my job is to be an educator. And I spend a lot of time with my clients because at this age, our clients turning 65 and even older are going to be using their health insurance and seeing their doctor more than they ever previously had in their lives. And it's really, really important that we get this perfect and that they have a good understanding of their Medicare. Because as I always tell our clients, when they are walking into the doctor's office or being rolled out of an ambulance into the ER, the last thing I ever want them to be worried about is, am I covered for this? Do I have a choice of doctors? So my goal with our clients is always to get that clear understanding. And at some point during my presentation, I always had that aha moment from them, like, I get this. This isn't that difficult. And I really take a lot of time with them to explain it. And that is also my goal with you today. So what we're going to do is we're going to have about a 35, 40-minute presentation. At the end, there'll be a question and answer session. I'm also going to break it down to 5, 7, 10-minute little segments. And after each segment, when we move forward, before we move forward, I should say, I'll ask, is there any questions out there? So there are really two kinds of Medicares that are out there. There is original Medicare. That's your 80%, your red, white, and blue card, coupled with the correct Medicare supplement or Medigap plan, which covers the other 20%. So between 80 and 20, you're 100% covered. And then your third part of original Medicare is your standalone drug plan. So that is what we're going to focus on today. The other Medicare is your Medicare Advantage part. And we will get into a little bit about the Medicare Advantage part at the end. But most of your high-end clients, which I expect most of you have, are Medicare supplement and the standalone drug plan. In today's presentation, all the numbers are going to be from 2021. Unfortunately, the 2022 numbers, when it comes to your deductible and your what you pay for your Part B, and we'll get into a little bit more details to make this understand, have not come out yet. There are projected numbers, and I'll kind of tell you what the projectors numbers are, but they really have not been finalized. So normally when I get on a phone call with a client, I will ask them, where are you in the process of getting onto Medicare? And they might be 6 months out, 3 months, or they have to do it tomorrow. And I'll ask them, what's important to you have in your Medicare? What are your concerns about your Medicare? And I'll gather information and I'll write all these things down. And then I'll come back and use them later on during the close. And I'll say, well, you said that this is important to you. Did we cover this? You feel comfortable with this? You said you had to have this in your Medicare. Do you feel comfortable? Do we need to talk a little bit more about that? So with that said, let's get into the basics of Medicare. So original Medicare, there are 3 parts to it. Again, your red, white, and blue card, which handles 80% of all of your doctor and hospital bills. And that 80% normally has 2 parts. The first part is your Part A, and that basically covers your hospital. Now, that's actually the best part because normally people have already paid for that as long as they worked 40 quarters or 10 years of their lives through their taxes. The second part is Part B, okay? And Part B is for your doctors. And by the way, one thing I missed is when I normally have a client on the phone, I will ask them to get out a sheet of paper, and at the upper left-hand corner, just like on this sheet, I'll ask them the right part. And then below that part, I'll ask them to write about an inch or 2 down the letter A, and then below that, the letter B. And then I'll go to the right side and I'll ask them. So they're actually writing this down while I'm giving this presentation to them. So between these 2, Part A and Part B, this covers 80% of all your doctor and hospital bills. Now your A, again, is for free since you already paid for it. Your B, okay, so I will ask them also if they're going to take Social Security, because that's important because your Part B, if you are not on Social Security, you will get billed for this on a quarterly basis. The government will send you a bill, and we'll talk about how much your Part B costs in a moment, and you get a paper bill. Your first bill might be 2 months, might be 3 months, might be 4 months. It really depends on where you come in the cycle, but your bill after that will be every 3 months. Now, once you get on Social Security, or if you're taking Social Security at 65, then that bill will be changed over to to monthly, and that will automatically be taken out of your Social Security check. So how much does your Part B actually cost? Okay, so what they do for 2021, they always go 2 years back, and they always look at your taxes from 2 years back. So in 2021, we are looking at our 2019 gross adjusted income. And in 2019, if you filed single and you were under 88,000, or if you filed jointly and you were under 173,000, then your monthly bill for your Part B is $148.50. That is what your charge is. Again, if you are on, if you are on Social Security, they'll automatically take that out of your Social Security check. If you are not on, then they'll bill you quarterly. Now, underneath the sheet, it shows that if you're under the Irma limits. So let's look under the Irma limits here. And you can see right there, and I apologize, it's a 173, it's actually 176, that if you file jointly, if you make under 88,000, and if you, single, you make under 88,000, if you file jointly under 176,000, then your base for your Part B monthly charge is $148.50. Now, just to let you know, if anybody asks you, the projected number for 2022 is going to be $158.50. They haven't made that official yet, but that is the whisper number out there. And as you can tell, the more you make, the more they're going to charge you. Now, this sheet I send out to everybody when the sheet comes out middle towards the end of November. And it's important that your clients get this because many people, the older they get, the less they make. So you always want to figure out what category you're in here of income, because next year, if your income drops, your monthly payment for your Part B should also drop. And I can send this to all of you when it comes out, so you can send it to your clients. Hopefully you have a lot of clients on the lower 500 and above, and that are paying $504.90. But many times, as the older they get, they will actually pay for less. Now, Medicare or Social Security should figure this out, because they're looking at their taxes from 2 years back all the time. They should lower their IRMA, but sometimes they do not. So always ask your clients what they're making for that previous year, or 2 years back, I should say, and always have them adjust their IRMA and their Part B payment. So that's really about it for your first part of Medicare. Your original part of Medicare, Part A and Part B, cover 80%. That's your red, white, and blue card. Your Part A, majority of all your people have already paid for. Your Part B, they will be billed for. Any questions on the first part of Medicare, which is called Original Medicare, your red, white, and blue card, your Part B, and your Part A?
I'm reading here, Part A hospital, free to most people. So does it have deductible, I thought? Part A.
It has a deductible. Part A has a deductible of $1,340, for example, if you go to the hospital. But if you couple it with the correct Medicare supplement, which we'll get into in a minute, that supplement, the plans on the right there, will cover that deductible. Now, when I say free to most people, that means no monthly premiums, because you've already paid for your Part A if you worked 40 quarters of your life for 10 years, and you've paid through that through your taxes.
What if you haven't worked 40 quarters, but you're married to somebody who has?
Then that qualifies as well.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions on Part A and Part B? Okay, so that's the first part of Medicare, your 80%. Let's expand a little bit on Part B, because as you know, a lot of our seniors these days are working a lot longer. So for example, if you have a senior that is working for a company that has group health insurance and they want to keep working, then they should automatically be signed up for their Part A, and they're going to decline their Part B, because why would they pay that $148.50 a month if they're getting group health insurance at work? So what you want to do is you want to tell your clients your Part A and B, you should start working on about 3 months before you turn 65. And then again, about 3 months before you retire, if you're kicking that retirement can down the road. And what I always tell your clients is call Social Security. And if you call them at 8 o'clock in the morning, there's usually a 5-minute wait. If you call them around noon, there'll be a 15-minute wait. And you tell them, hey, you know what? I'm still working. I'm 65, but I want my Part A. I do not want my Part B. And then you can tell them if you want your Social Security check or not. The reason you want your Part A, and you automatically should be signed up for your Part A at age 65. But unfortunately, our government's a little bit behind with COVID. They don't have as many people. And the reason you want your Part A is because it becomes your secondary as long as your company has over 20 employees. And what do I mean by secondary? So say you go have an 80-20 plan with your group health plan, you go in the hospital, and that 20%, that Part A will kick in and pick up those hospital costs. So you always want to be signed up for your Part A when you turn 65. Now, your Part B, you are working still after age 65. So you want to save that Part B, and you want to tell Social Security, I don't want my Part B right now. And let's use the example that somebody retires at age 70. Okay. So what we want to do now is make Part B active. So when you are 65, you have something called your initial open enrollment, where all of the insurance companies have to take you. They all have to take you 6 months before your 65th birthday, the month of your 65th birthday, and 3 months after your 65th birthday. And the reason that is important is you could have a heart attack this morning. You could have stage 4 cancer. All the supplement companies have to take you. So we want to kick that can, that once in a lifetime gift of your initial open enrollment down the road when you actually get onto Medicare. And that will be called a special enrollment. The other reason is you want to save your Part B and do a special enrollment is because our government wants you putting money into the healthcare system when you turn 65. They don't care if it's through your group health insurance or they don't care if it's through Medicare, but they want you putting money into the healthcare system. Because they say it's not fair for you not to get on Medicare and then at age 68, you have cancer and all of a sudden you want Medicare now. So my point of this is if you do not do this special enrollment correctly, you will get a late enrollment penalty. And that late enrollment penalty for your Part B is 10% for every full year you were not on Medicare. So let's go back to the example of someone 70 years old and say they have the $148.50 monthly bill and they want Part B at 70, 5 years times 10%. So their late enrollment penalty is going to be roughly $73 a month as long as they're on Medicare. And most people are on Medicare for the rest of their lives. That penalty does not go away. Wow. So how do we solve that penalty? What we do is we do something called a special enrollment. And most insurance agents and Medicare specialists like me, they don't even know what that is, or they screw it up. And if they screw it up, it's a 9-month appeal process. The majority of the time, it's not turned over. So what is a special enrollment? What happens is you get 2 forms from Social Security, or I send them out. I send them a nice little 4-page step-by-step instructions. And one form is called your CMS 40B. And it's 1 page, and you fill this out, and it's your permission to get into Part B at a later date without the penalty. The second form is your CMS 54-6L, and that you take to your employer. The client takes to their employer or every employer they've had since age 65, or their spouse's employer if they were on their spouse's insurance. And that employer fills that out, 1 page. Hey, they've been on our accredited health insurance. Yes, they've been putting money into the system. What you do is you send your client, then will call Social Security, set up an appointment, and they go into Social Security and they give them these 2 forms and they say, are these 2 forms filled out correctly? Because I have been putting money into the healthcare system and I do not want that late enrollment penalty. If your Social Security office is closed, which many of them are, what we do is we recommend that you certified mail it in with a signature receipt that they get back, because they are so behind and so overwhelmed right now. About 1 out of 50 people, they say, we never got this. And it's Mr. Smith said he signed it and I have this receipt here. So what that does is those 2 forms are proof to Social Security, which Social Security signs you up for Medicare, and then Medicare administers afterwards. So those 2 forms are proof that you've been putting money into the healthcare system. So you will not get that late enrollment penalty. And plus that once in a lifetime gift where all the companies have to take you, you're moving that gift down to the age that you're actually getting onto Medicare. So instead of going in your initial open enrollment when you're 65, you're going to change that initial enrollment into a special enrollment down the road. Any questions on the special enrollment at all? Okay, so if your clients have a special enrollment, you bring them over to me. I work with them sometimes on a daily basis. That, okay, now you got to call Social Security, make that appointment. Social Security, oh, just come and drop it in the box, fax it. And I said, no, make the appointment. Make sure these forms are filled out correctly or certified, mail it in. And then we will work with them just to make sure that they have the special enrollment set up correctly. Because again, if they don't, it can take up to 9-month appeal process to get that late enrollment penalty overturned. And that penalty can be very, very expensive. Now, with the Part B, it's 10% penalty for every full year you've not been on. And then there's a Part D, as in David, your drug plan, there's a smaller penalty, but we really want to focus on them not getting those penalties and having that once in a lifetime gift where all the supplement companies have to take you. So that's really about it. The 80%, all you really have to know, this is your red, white, and blue card that covers 80% of all your doctor and hospital bills. And we normally start working on this 3 months before you turn 65, or about 3 months before you have your special enrollment and getting onto Medicare and getting off your group health coverage at your job. So any other questions on the 80% part, the first part of original Medicare? Okay, so let's move on to the right side. And normally when I'm with a client, I will ask them to write plan and then plan G and plan N. And we're going to get back to plan F in a moment. And these are called your Medicare supplements or Medigap plans, because these plans cover the gap that Medicare, the boss over there on the left, Part A and B, does not cover. So between 80% and 20%, you will be 100% covered. So now these are the two plans, Plan G and Plan N, that 98% of these two plans are the ones that are being sold out in the market. And these cover 20% that Medicare does not cover. So with Plan G, all you really have to know about Plan G is you have a once a year, and again, in 2021 number, the projected number for 2022 is $217. So you have a once a year, $203 deductible. And it's kind of like a deductible on your car. You get in a car accident, you pay for that, and everything is covered. So let's use the example that you go to the doctor in June and your bill's $100 outside the hospital doctor. You pay that $100. You go to doctor in July and your bill is $200. You pay $103 because you've already paid the $100, and then your Medicare kicks in and pays the $97. Let's say, God forbid, in November, you have a massive heart attack, bypass surgery, and you spend 10 days in the hospital and your bill is $300,000. You pay nothing because you've already met your deductible and you're 100% covered after that. Now, your normal G, with people around 65, depending on where they're at, because the G plans go by zip codes, your normal G plan would be anywhere from like $105 to $120 a month. And what I do is I email all of the plans, and there's normally anywhere from 30 to 50 G plans per zip code to the client. So that's your G plan. All you really have to know about your G plan is the $203 deductible. Again, in 2022, they're projecting a $217 deductible. And I'm going to get back to these percentages that are right above in a moment. Any questions on the G plan, the 20% of the G plan?
What did you say average premium is right now?
Roughly around $105 to $125 a month, unless you're in Florida or California. And what I do is I get the person's zip code, and then I send them a breakdown of every company in that area. And there's only 20 to 30 companies. And what that does is that takes the objection of, I want to shop around later on out of the equation.
Do you, are you going to speak to that 9 to 12% increase annually?
Yes. I'm going to get back to that in a moment.
Okay.
So let's go on to the Plan N. Okay, the Plan N, again, the similarities between the two plans are they both cover the 20%. That Medigap plan, the 20%, and that is Medicare Supplement or Medigap plan. So on the Plan N, you also have that $203 deductible. And that deductible is a once a year deductible, starts January 1st, resets itself December 31st. But on the Plan N, you have some copays. You have up to $20 copays when you visit a doctor or a specialist outside the hospital. Some doctors charge 5, some charge 10, some charge 15, but they can't charge you over $20 when you visit a doctor or a specialist. The national average copay is between $13 and $14. So that right there is telling you a lot of these doctors are not charging this copay. Also, there is a $50 copay if you visit the ER room and if you're not admitted. If you're admitted, you don't pay that copay. If you go to the doctor or the ER, I'm sorry, and you cut your finger and you stitch it up, they send you home in 6 hours, they charge you $50. Plan N also does not cover excess charges. So what are excess charges? And most of the boys and girls in this industry don't even know what this is. And it's such a small thing, but I have to tell you about it just in case it ever comes up. Let's use an example that you walk outside, you slip, you fall, you break your wrist, and you need wrist surgery. And Medicare Part A and B, okay, over there on the left, the boss over there says, this surgery should cost $10,000 and the surgeon should get $1,000 out of that. But you know what? You want to go to the best of the best. You want to go to the top 1 or 2% of wrist surgeons in Illinois. And that wrist surgeon says, you know what? I don't care what Medicare says. I'm charging $10,150 for my service. So that $150 would be considered an excess charge. But I always say knowledge is power, and knowing that only 3% of all the bills that went through Medicare in 2020, they haven't come out to 2021 number yet, had excess charges. And it's really for your elite of the elite. It's for your top surgeons, your 1, 2, 3%, your heart surgeons, your brain surgeons. Your typical doctor will not charge an excess charge. And if you are considering the plan, you can always ask your doctor, look, do you charge excess charges? And if you do, can you waive them? If not, I'm going to find myself another doctor. They normally always waive them. In 2019, 20, 21, I did not have any excess charges coming through. Now, if your clients want to ask your doctor if they charge excess charges, the legal term is Medicare Assignment. And what Medicare Assignment is defined as is, do you have an agreement with Medicare that they give me a price and I cannot charge over that price? If your doctor or their billing department does not know what Medicare Assignment is, then the slang is excess charge or overage. Now, knowing that there is a cap on that might help as well, that they can only charge 15% over what their service is. Okay, so it's a very, very rare thing that comes up, but I have to bring it up. Now, your plan ends normally will run on a 65-year-old, normally $75 to $90. So your plan N is normally around $25, $28 cheaper than your plan G. And I always say, if you are healthy, always get on a plan N, because look at those percentages. Okay, those percentages are your average increase of G going up 9 to 12%, N going up 2 to 5%. So even if you're on a plan N, and even if you're going to the doctor once a month, and let's just say you have to pay that $20 copay, and the premiums kind of even out, you always want to get on a plan N, because imagine the letter V in victory. Okay, and when you start on Medicare, you're at the bottom at that tip. And the older and older you get, the wider and wider that spread is going to be. Because not only are you starting at a higher cost basis on a plan G, roughly around $105 to $120, $125, but your plan is going up on the average of 9 to 12% a year. Where on an N, you're starting roughly around $75 to $95, but your cost basis is lower, but you're only going up roughly 2 to 5% a year. So all of our clients at 65 or 66, 67, I expect them to be around another 30, 40 years. But I always tell them that you will come out ahead on a plan N. And also, I am paid on commission, meaning the more they spend, the more I make. But again, I'm always telling them to save money, get on a plan N. Now, some clients tell me, you know what, Milan? I don't want to deal with the copays. I want to deal with my deductible, pay that. And I want to go to a second opinion, third opinion, fourth opinion. I don't want none of that referral stuff, none of that pre-authorization. I say, okay, no problem. Get on a plan G, but know that you are going to have higher increases. Now, these plans, these plan G and plan N, you can change 365 days a year. You can call me one day, say, take me from Mutual of Omaha to Aetna to Cigna, take me from a plan G to a plan N, as long as you are healthy. Because remember that initial open enrollment period that we had where all the insurance companies had to take you? Now, besides one company, and they're expensive, you have to qualify medically to change. So let's define healthy to change, okay? No heart attack, stroke, cancer in the last 2 or 3 years. No A1C over 7 if you're a diabetic. No COPD, no rheumatoid arthritis. So basically the definition is healthy. You cannot be under any care of a doctor or physician or have any kind of surgeries or anything like that coming up. And it's not that you can't change, it's the other insurance companies will not take you. Besides one insurance company, and they're very, very expensive because again, they're taking all the sick people and the healthy people. So plan G and plan N pays the 20%. Plan G, all you got to do is worry about your $203 deductible. You go to as many doctors anywhere in the United States, any doctor, as long as they take Medicare, which is about 97%. So your network really is, do you take Medicare? Plan N, again, covers the other 20%. They got a $203 deductible, up to $20 copays, up to $50 copays if you go ER. It's about $25 cheaper a month, but that real cost savings comes into play on those annual percentages, that annual increase percentages of 2 to 5% compared to 9 to 12%. And when I'm working with a client, after this phone call, I will send them all the prices of all the plan Gs and all the prices of all the plan Ns in the area. Please also note, all the plan Gs are the same. They're all mandated by the government. They all are identical. All the plan Ns, they're mandated by the government, but they all have to be the same. So any questions as of right now on the plan? I know this is a lot of information, and I normally do this a lot slower with our clients. And, I follow up with a phone call after they get the email. Hey, any questions on that G? Any questions on that N? Any questions on the G or the N's, the 20%, the Medicare supplements or the Medigap plans right now?
My question is, so is it on plan N unlimited visits to the doctor?
Yes, they are unlimited visits, but you have that $203 deductible. And you also might have to pay that up to $20 copays when you visit a doctor or a specialist outside the hospital. So yes, you're unlimited, but you might have to pay that $20. So if I have somebody that is really sick going to the doctor 2-3 times or has some therapy coming up, then I say, you know what, maybe we should do that plan G so you don't get copaid to death. And then we can switch you over to the plan N. So yes, they are both unlimited, but on the plan N, you have that copay that you might have to pay.
How much changing do you see people doing between plan G and plan N, or vice versa?
Good question. Excellent question. So unfortunately, we have insurance agents out there, Medicare specialists that are hunting people down when they're 65 and they never hear from them again. If I have a client, I'm normally talking to them 4 or 5 times a year. One of the years is about a month before their effective date. And I always call them up. I say, Dennis, by the way, your plan is going up $9, going up $3, going up $4. You want me to shop around? You want to stay with the plan? And unfortunately, these plans are like the cable company or the phone company. They give you a really, really good rate for the first few years, and then they start raising you up. So normally people will change about their 3rd year, where I'll say, okay, you know what, there's a plan out there and we can get you into this plan to save the money. And normally I will flip my clients into a cheaper plan about the 3rd or 4th year, as long as they're healthy. Once they're not healthy, or once they have something like AFib or COPD or rheumatoid arthritis, I cannot switch them unless they wanted to go with that very, very expensive company that takes all of the clients. They keep that open enrollment going forever, but they're expensive because they're allowing the sick and the healthy people in the pool. So to answer your question, about every 3-4 years, normally they change plans.
Yeah, so that's changing plans, but how about changing from N to G?
Normally people, okay, good question. Normally people will get on the G when they turn 65. And then they'll see those 9 to 12%. And I'll keep saying, hey, we can get you on a plan N. And to give you an example, I took a lady, and this is plan F, we're going to get to this, from Blue Cross Blue Shield. And she was 81 years old, very healthy, one medication. She was paying $305 a month. And I took her to a plan G because she's a little bit too much of a move for a plan N, for Mutual of Omaha for $172 a month. And I saved her $1,400 a year. The only difference between a plan F and a plan G, and I'm going to get to the plan Fs in a moment, she paid her own deductible of $203. Net savings was $1,200. So normally people, when they kind of like feel a little bit more comfortable on that plan G, but after they see those increases and they're like, they start understanding Medicare and how it works, then they'll normally switch to a plan N in about the second or third year to save that money. And those increases, again, I expect our clients to be around for 30, 40 years. Those increases are where you really, really save the money. And most insurance agents are pushing the plan G because they pay more, they make more. But I always say, if you're reasonably healthy, get on the plan N.
Got it.
Okay. So any other questions on the G and the N plan?
Yes. Do you ever present the high deductible?
Very seldom. Very seldom. I just don't work with it. Most of my clients have a minimal 40,000 household income. And most of my clients, when I ask them what their goals or what their number one concern is I want everything paid. I want to go to any doctor. So I touch base on it really quick. And most of the doctors and the clients, or excuse me, most of the clients say, no, I don't want that. But if it is requested, that I go into it. All right, here is your guys' chance to be a hero and save your people a ton of money and take that money and put it into the investment vehicle. Let's talk about the plan Fs. So the plan Fs were the hot plan many, many years ago. And they were sold as the Cadillac plan. They were sold the plan that pays everything. That's the best plan out there. But the plan Fs never, ever were the best plan for the clients. They were always the best plan for the insurance agent. And here's why. So the plan Fs, they pay everything. Well, they pay, all the plans pay everything. The G and the F and the Ns, they pay the 20%. But they were presented as plans that were the Cadillac plans. They paid for everything. And in a plan F, you are still paying that $203 deductibles. Everybody pays that. That is your Part B deductible. That goes to the government. But what most people don't know is that deductible is built into your premiums. And the insurance companies loved it when you were on a plan F because they charge you huge administrative fees to pay for that $203 deductible. So what we do is anybody that's on a plan F and they're healthy, they can switch to a plan G. And we say, pay your own deductible, and then it becomes a plan F. Let's go back to that lady. 15 years, she hasn't talked to her insurance agent, Blue Cross Blue Shield. She was paying $305 a month on a plan F with Blue Cross Blue Shield. I took her, as long as she's healthy, I took her to Mutual of Omaha, $172 a month, plan G. Net savings was $1,400 minus her $203 deductible. Once you pay that $203 deductible, it basically becomes a plan F. So anybody on a plan F, if you can switch them, get them on a plan G. That's not the main reason you want to switch them. The main reason is in 2020, they closed off the plan Fs to new 65-year-olds, the new blood, the new healthy peoples. So let me paint you a picture. When you become eligible for Medicare and you get a supplement, they put you in a pool with thousands and thousands of people. Now you are on a Plan F. They closed out the Plan Fs for new blood, new 65-year-olds in 2020. So what's happening with all those pools of people that are allowed to stay on the Plan Fs, they're grandfathered in. They're getting older and older and older. So the older you get, the more claims you have, the more you see your doctor. And with no new blood, no new 65-year-olds coming in there, Plan F is going to be, right now, it's a disaster as far as I'm concerned. They're going up roughly 15 to 21% because all those people in the Plan Fs are staying on the Plan Fs are getting older and older, more and more claims. So if you have anybody on a Plan F, let me talk to them or you talk to them and say, hey, why don't we look at the Plan Gs? Because once you pay your deductible of $203, again, in 2022, projected price is going to, forecast is going to be $217, it becomes a Plan F. Now, the reason they insurance agents again sold the Plan Fs is we're paid on commission. So the more you pay the client, the more the agent makes. And just to let you know how I am paid, in case your client ever asks you have a question about it, is I am paid a little bit every month for 10 years. And they set it up perfectly because I have to service my clients. And if they go to the insurance company or I bring them to the insurance company, they pay the exact amount. But I guarantee you the insurance companies know who has an advocate looking out for them and calling them on a yearly basis and say, hey, we're going up this much. Or you want me to shop around or you want to stay with that company? So anybody on a Plan F, please, and they're healthy, consider them getting off because the Plan Fs in the next few years are going to be a total train wreck as much as they're going up in price. Any questions on the Plan Fs? Mm-hmm.
You said if they're healthy, which is a
Yes.
relative term, you could talk to them and determine, yeah, you got a good shot, or yeah, I don't think this is worth it, or whatever.
Excellent question. And define healthy, Milan. So first of all, there is no physical exams by a doctor or nurse coming to the house like larger life insurance policies or anything like that. There's just a questionnaire. The first question I ask them, how many medications you want? Usually medications, by them telling me what medications they're on, I can kind of tell what's going on with their health. Then I'll ask them some basic questions, any heart attack, strokes in the last few years, what are you going to your doctors for? Within 30 seconds to 60 seconds, I can 99% of the time tell them if they'll qualify. And then, if they can't qualify, then what I'll try to do is get them on a company that, I'll assure them that they're doing good, but normally I can, within about 30, 60 seconds of talking to them, I can let them know if I can switch them or not.
Got it.
Any other questions on the 20% part? Okay, so far, let's review really quick. So we have original Medicare, Part A and B covers 80%. Your secondary or your Medigap plan or Medicare supplement plan, 20%. So far, we are covered 100% for all our doctor and hospital bills. And your third part of original Medicare is Part D, and that is your standalone prescription drug plan. Now that we normally enroll you about a month before you start your Medicare. So your Part A and B is normally 3 months, your supplements normally 6 to 3 months, and your Part D is normally about a month. The government does not like us signing them up way too far in advance because, if you're lucky, you're going to have a client that's on, 2, 3 medications, but I have clients that are on 12, 15 medications, and they're always switching their medication plans. The only thing you really got to know about your standalone drug plan is that there's 3 kinds of pricing. There's your monthly premiums, there's your copays when you pick your drugs up, and there's your deductibles. Some companies charge high monthly premiums and low copays when you pick your drugs up. Some companies charge low monthly premiums and high copays when you pick your drugs up. Some have deductibles or not. So what we always try to do is get total out-of-pocket cost for the year for our clients, total out-of-pocket costs. And we price it that way. 3 things: monthly premiums, what your copays are, and if there's a deductible. Your Part D plan, your Part D drug plan, you can change during AEP, which is October 15th to December 7th. Your new drug plan starts January 1st. And this is why you're seeing all these commercials on TV right now, because anybody on original Medicare Part A and B and your supplement, they're fine. The only thing they got to worry about is their drug plan. And all my clients right now are getting calls saying, hey, is your drug plan going up? And for example, like WellCare right now, they had 6 drug plans. They did it down to 3, and they did a crossover. And a lot of my clients who are paying $22 a month are paying $68 a month now. So this is why this is my busy season, and I got to get them going. Also during this time, people on Medicare Advantage can switch their Medicare Advantage plans as well. And that would be for another Medicare Advantage plans. Most of our clients at income levels that we're dealing with normally do not want Medicare Advantage plans. In all the years I've been doing this, is the first year I actually started selling Medicare Advantage plans. They are getting better. They used to be small HMOs. The PPOs have expanded now. But I still would always rather put a client on a plan where they can go to any doctor, any hospitals in the United States, as long as their doctors take Medicare, which 98 to 97% of them do. So that's really about it. It's pretty simple. You know, once you kind of explain and break it down, 80%, 20%, and your standalone drug plan when it comes to original Medicare coverage. Any questions at all? Okay, just a little
So
bit, let you know, I'm sorry.
Yeah, just, I want to circle back to the Medicare Advantage.
Okay.
I've encountered agents who seem to get, line up one way or the other. They think Medicare Advantage is the greatest thing in the world, and everybody should be in Medicare Advantage, and it's free and whatever. And then I would put you in the other camp. Why? You're talking about your health here. And if you have the ability to pay a premium, why wouldn't you want to have the ability to go to Mayo Clinic or to Cleveland Clinic or to John Hopkins or whatever?
Right.
I mean, your health is so important. And is there, and it's good to hear that they've gotten better. And
Yes.
I get the sense that the government is pushing more and more people to Advantage.
Yes.
I don't know that. That's my gut feel.
Yes.
Is there an income level, or do you determine kind of from your initial intake and the goals, and when you're talking to people, of when you would recommend Advantage for someone?
Okay, excellent question. Excellent question. And that's when I always start out with my phone call of, where are you in the process of getting onto Medicare? What does your Medicare plan have to have? And when I hear I want to be able to go to any doctor, any hospital I want the best doctors. What are your concerns about it? Well, my bill's going to get paid. Am I going to get covered? So let's talk a little bit about Medicare Advantage and what Medicare Advantage is. First of all, let me say that I have a number of doctors that are retired and a number of nurses that are retired. And when I go through this presentation, normally now I'd go to Part C and start talking about a Medicare Advantage plan. And they always say, you don't need to talk about that. And I said, no, we know what that is. I don't have one retired doctor, one retired nurse on a Medicare Advantage plan. So keep that in the back of your mind. If you cannot afford the supplement, then yeah, the Medicare Advantage is the right way to go. And we have Joe Namath and Jimmy Walker on TV being experts on health insurance now. And they're getting a little slap. They're redoing those commercials. CMS is making do with those commercials because it's not for free. Even when you're on a Medicare Advantage plan, you still have to pay for that Part B, that $148.50 deductible. But now they are getting better, okay? So what is a Medicare Advantage plan? Let's define it as I know it. What you're actually doing is you're signing a contract with a private insurance company to manage, it's called managed healthcare, your health for 1 year. The doctor can get off the plan, the hospital can get off the plan, but you cannot. And they're managing your care 100% of it in one hand, and on the other hand, trying to make a profit. That is never a good combination in my eyes. And our government loves it when you get out of Medicare Advantage plans. What they do is they roughly subsidize, the rough number is roughly around $10,000 a year to manage your care. And they say, oh, okay, Dennis, you don't want to be on original Medicare, something you paid your whole life to go to any doctor anywhere. No problem. We'll subsidize the company roughly $10,000 a year to manage your care. And now you're their problem. We want nothing to do with you. Now, if you're on an HMO, you have to go to their doctors. If you go outside the network, majority of the time on majority of the HMOs, you are responsible for 100% of that bill. Now, if your doctor is in your hospital is in that HMO, then it might not be a bad plan for you. The HMO benefits are usually a little richer, meaning your copays are smaller. You normally get more for your dental, more for your vision plan, more for your hearing plan. Compared to the PPOs now, okay, if you go outside the network, your copays are a little bit more and you have a higher total out-of-pocket cost. For example, on a PPO, your total out-of-pocket cost for your, say, on example, might be $3,900, $4,900. Some are as low as $2,900, $2,500. If you go outside the network, it could be $8,000, $10,000. But I always end it with my clients like this. Let's use the example that, remember, insurance is not for when you have a cold or you have the sniffles or you cut your hand and you need stitches. This is catastrophic. Insurance is for catastrophic things like stage 3 cancer. If you have stage 3 cancer, you got a 50-50 chance of living. You want a Medicare Advantage plans where you kind of have to go to their doctors and stay in networks. You have to get referrals on some of the plans. You have to get pre-authorizations on some of the plans. Many of their major surgeries declined. You have to go through an appeal process. You go through the appeal process, majority of those plans then are approved. Your doctor has to write letters. Or do you want to be on a supplement plan with original Medicare, where you go to any doctor, anywhere, and I have to be careful when I say any, when 97% of them do. You read referrals on the best oncologists. You go to any doctor that you want. You can, if you're on a plan G, first, second, third, fourth, fifth opinion. When your life really matters, what plan do you want to go be on? That's the way I end it. And majority of the people that can afford a supplement with original Medicare, that's the avenue that they take. So the Advantage plans are getting better. They're out there. This is the first year I'm actually selling them, believe it or not. So I have people that make 15, 20,000 household income and they're just struggling. So I say, okay, let's get you on an Advantage plan.
Awesome.
Also, one more thing, I'm paid much more money on an Advantage plan than a supplement plan, and I still say get on the supplement plan. Any other questions at all?
Yeah, Milan, do these 3 letters cover expenses if you're out of the country?
Good question. Good question. I don't know what the 2022 numbers are, but majority in 2021, not majority, I'm sorry, all the plan Gs, all the plan Ns are the same. Out of the country, your supplement is what actually covers you. And it is an 80% coverage for mandatory emergencies. And I say mandatory because I had a lady that was in the Mediterranean a couple of years ago. She was on a cruise ship. She was having some stomach pain. She insisted that be helicoptered off the cruise ship. The doctor on the cruise ship said, no, it's not necessary. She got into the ER. She had some gas. She picked it up. So it really wasn't necessary. So it's 80% up to $50,000 to cover the first 2 months, 60 days that you're out of the country. And the reason they do that is they do not want you living abroad and using Medicare. So, and you can always, if you have clients that are traveling for more, there's always insurance out there for covering your health outside the United States. So it's the general rule is 50,000, 80% for 6 months. Any other questions at all? Okay, so the way I finish this normally with my clients is I tell them, if I earn your business, please know if you ever have any problems with your bills, you do not sit on the phone with the insurance companies for 15, 20 minutes. You call me. Because I do so much business with Mutual, I do, Cigna, I have backdoor numbers and I'm on hold for a minute. So if you have any problems with any of your bills, please call me. The process normally is 3 to 6 months. I talk to the clients, I set them up with a supplement. 3 months out, we make sure their part A and B is set up correctly. A month out, we again call them again, make sure their drug plan is set up. We set them up for a drug plan. 2 to 3 days before the Medicare actually starts, we call them up, say, hey, how you doing? Any last question? Do you have all 3 of your cards? We normally call them 2 months or a month or 2 months after they've been on Medicare. Hey, have you had a chance to use your Medicare? How'd it go? No, that's actually a good thing. That means you're healthy. But give us a call if you have any questions. All my clients get a silly birthday card, handwritten, call them a month, day before their birthday, day of, day after. We touch them then. Everybody gets a little Christmas calendar with recipes with my picture on it. They put it in the refrigerator. We always call them up in February. Hey, what's your favorite recipe? So we provide good old fashioned service where we're always in contact with our clients. This 312 number that I have, my cell phone number, I tell my clients, call me anytime you have questions. My clients call me on Saturday nights from the hospital. They call me on Sundays. 90% of the time, I will always pick up the phone. It's always me that they're talking to because I know what they're going through. They're scared. They're 65. They're not sure about this Medicare. And I always want to be there for them. We call that good old fashioned service. And we really take care of our clients. 70% of all our new clients are by referral. And that's really about it. Any other questions anybody else might have?
That's awesome. Milan, if we have a client or prospect or just a question that we want to ask you offline, how would we do that? How do we?
Yeah, please feel free to give me a call. Number one way of communication with me is calling or texting. I check my emails normally around 6 o'clock in the morning and normally around 9 o'clock before I go to sleep. Feel free to call me anytime. If I'm on the phone with a client, I will not pick up. It's just respect and courtesy to that client. I will normally call you back within an hour or two. If not, you are always the first for me to call after 8 o'clock the next morning. If you ever want me to work with a client, please ask them if it's okay if I call them up, and I'll set up a time and I'll kind of walk through this presentation and I'll check in with them constantly. There's a small referral fee that Dennis can tell you about. But we really pride ourselves on taking care of our clients, servicing them, making sure that they feel good about and really understand their Medicare. And I get clients that call me once a month asking me questions. And I have clients that never call me. I always have to call them and check in with them as well.
Awesome. So we'll send out the recording of this. We'll send out your handout, and then we'll send out with that your contact information.
Great. Thank you very much.
If you want, you can just give us your phone number right now for anybody that wants.
It's 312-804-6319. And my small little company is just kind of, and this is called Dr. Supp. And the way that started is many years ago. I was in a retirement home. And I was with a group of little old ladies, a bridge club, and I spent about 4 or 5 hours with them. This is all obviously before COVID and everything, and explaining them Medicare, explaining them what the difference is between Advantage and Original Medicare. And after like 4 or 5 hours, one lady says, you're like the doctor of Medicare. You know everything about Medicare. And from that small little group, I have tons and tons of referrals. I get people calling me up and say, you that dude, Dr. Supp guy? And so I actually started a company called Dr. Supp. It's kind of wrong with it, but I love what I do. My passion is Medicare. Please understand, if you ever send me a client, this is very important that you all understand this, and they ask me about anything besides Medicare, PNC, life insurance, retirement, they will always get back. They'll always get referred back to you so you can set them up with a referral partner that specializes in that field, because I do one thing, I do it very, very well, and that is Medicare.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Very cool, Milan. I appreciate it. This was excellent. And we will be in touch. I mean,
Okay.
This is outstanding.
Great. Thank you very much, everybody, and I hope you have a wonderful day. And please call me anytime you have any questions at all.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Bye-bye.